Snow moon? Snow full moon? The snow moon is coming in full moon before February begins tonight at midnight. It looked pretty full today to me. It really did. And on the road to get the beer later, I'll show you how full it is. But the Artemis 2 launch date. 4 astronauts flying to the moon to fly around to the dark side of the moon. That reminds me of a record or something. Most of the Pink Floyd heads, they get into heated arguments about who was better. David Gilmour, Syd Barrett, or Roger Waters, and so on. Some people get into passionate Pink Floyd passionate Pink Floyd arguments. Yeah. Passionate Pink Floyd arguments, yeah. But I think comparing David Gilmour and Syd Barrett is like apples and oranges. It's kind of like comparing Captain Kirk and Captain Picard. They're just different. Yeah, everybody listens to The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. I think everybody does, right? I mean, unless you just hate music. How many people actually hate music, though? Is there many people who are just like, man, I hate music. Turn it off. I hate noise. I hate the sound of music. There's not many folks like that out there. There's not really a lot of people that are anti-music, as it turns out. They might be anti-whatever else, but they're not anti-music. I've never really had a Pink Floyd argument about anything. Yeah. I think the reason why I didn't argue a lot about Pink Floyd is that I read their biography and autobiographies. I was fascinated with it, their origins and their formation, changing lead singers and lead guitarists, and the Syd Barrett to David Gilmour change, and then I was fascinated by their breakup and the legal battles. Pretty much like from their early days at like Polytechnic Art School all the way until the breakup and beyond. It's still fascinating. The guys are still alive except for Syd Barrett today. So did one of them die? Like somebody else? Like was it Nick Mason and So my electric guitarist friend would listen to he had all the Pink Floyd records. We'd listen to him, you know. And when Pink Floyd broke up and had the legal battles, I can't really say that the records are really all that good. Now, I guess Roger Waters, he gets a lot cynical. Yeah, he gets real cynical and really dark and cynical. And David Gilmour is more interested. He's a fantastic singer and guitarist, but he's obviously more interested in the melodic side of music, which is great. I prefer the whole melody side of things myself, honestly. Yeah. I kind of like more emphasis on the melodies and the vocals and the harmonies and things that are more choral. And AKA making the sounds in the record sound good, also known as. So music at its core is supposed to what? You're supposed to feel something. It's supposed to sound good. And if it's really fun, it's creative, and it's fun to listen to. So that's like usually my criteria for the music. And beyond that, as a piece of art, maybe it's thought-provoking or it's inspiring. But I think some of the Roger Waters albums on Pink Floyd, they sound like lectures about the Cold War or something. They sound more like an old cranky professor, and that's not good. Roger Waters, a little bit too cynical, right? It's kind of a cynical kind of fellow. That's why, Roger Waters is so great at like doing all the Cold War and World War II and Iron Curtain and Orwellian shit. He's great at doing that shit because he was cynical. He's great at that anti-government, Mother, should we trust the government? He's like, nope, never trust the government. Yeah, I mean, he's great at the cynical part of life, the awareness of the cynicism, of the pessimism. Actually, Roger Waters isn't really my favorite part of Pink Floyd. Yeah, maybe it is David Gilmour's amazing harmonies and guitar solos. Maybe it is, Maybe it's Dave Mason, Nick Wright. Is that their name? Nick Wright and Dave Mason. Maybe it's Syd Barrett and his psychedelic, crazy tunes. But, yeah, maybe Roger Waters isn't my favorite persona. Maybe he's not my favorite Pink Floyd band member. Obviously, Pink Floyd couldn't have existed without Roger Waters, one of the principal architects of the group. So, one of the driving forces behind the legendary Dark Side of the Moon album. Oh. And so my friend said, hey, Scott, music fan, a music creator. He was in band and he made his own electronic songs and stuff. And so he was an active musical guy, at least on computers, making his own music. One of the first guys I knew like making his own music on computers. And he said, I don't know if money belongs on the dark side of the moon, because what does money have to do with the themes of the album? And I'm like, well, you see, it's like, so I had to try to explain to him about Dark Side of the Moon. Well, you see, it's about the human, it's about time, and it's about money, and it's supposed to be different dimensions of human existence. And then he's like, well, I still don't think it belongs on the record, though. It just doesn't flow with it. I'm like, well, it's thematically it fits. Really, it really wasn't an argument. He just said, I don't know if I think money belongs on the dark side of the moon. And I was like, well, I don't necessarily agree with that. So one of the songs is called Time, and another one's called Money. So those are the, chief concerns of a mortal being, I would estimate. Well, I mean, they didn't have a song about sex. They had time, sex, money. Did they have a song called? They didn't have a song called Religion, did they? So, I mean, it's not like they had every single component dimension of man on the Dark Side of the Moon record. Yeah, it's not like they had time, money, sex, religion, ethics, morality, whatever, philosophy. It's not like they named every single concept of human existence on the record necessarily. Well, go Artemis 2 on it's supposed to launch on the Super Bowl. Oh man, maybe that's one of the launch dates. It's February 8th. Ooh, well then I have a good excuse to not watch Butt Buddy. I can have an Artemis 2 party and not have to watch Butt Buddy and Green Day. So what is it going to be? Green Day? Fuck Trump! So it's going to be Green Day, fuck Trump, fuck ICE. And then the Super Bowl begins or something. And then for everybody's pleasure, Butt Buddy for the halftime show. Hey, it's Butt Buddy, a Puerto Rican crossdresser. Woo! He comes out with the dress and the lipstick. He's like, hi, I'm Butt Buddy. Are you ready for bunny time? And I don't know. It's like kind of like this gay satanic ritual show, right? NFL. The NFL. Yeah, I'm just not really into what it's going to be. Screw Trump and is he going to play American Idiot or something? Billy Joe Armstrong is going to have his. I know it's not the 90s anymore, and I'm almost 60, but fuck the system, fuck the man, huh? And I guess the fans are going to go Real original, that Billy Joe Armstrong guy. Man, he's real original, dude. When I think of Billy Joe Armstrong and Green Day, I just think, man, now that's a guy who's original. You know, almost as original as Butt Buddy, Bad Bunny, I just call him Butt Buddy. Bad Bunny, Butt Buddy. Is it really? Is there much difference? For your halftime pleasure, Butt Buddy. Hey, me I speak no English, but I wear lipstick and a dress. And then I was, yeah. Yeah. On America's fucking 250th birthday year, they picked Green Day and fucking Bad Bunny. That was a massive fuck up. Massive, dude. But Jay-Z controls who gets to be on the stage, I think. Not just the NFL. I think it's Jay-Z's company. So he hasn't been picking white people and rock and roll bands for like 6 years. So. On purpose, not picking white people. The NFL panicked when they realized people were going to tune out because no one was excited about Butt Buddy wearing lipstick and a dress, when people weren't excited about cross-dressing Puerto Ricans that don't want to speak English or speak very little English. So they panicked and got Green Day to open the show. They say, can you see by the dawn's early light, so proudly we hail. Oh man, can't you wait to enjoy how shitty the opening NFL Green Day is? Whew. No, I think I'm just gonna skip it, and then people can I could just watch the reaction shows. It'll probably be funnier than actual watching it. And then Billy Joe Armstrong with his green hair and 55 years old, he'll get the mic and he'll go, "Hey, oi, fuck Trump and fuck ICE and fuck the man." If you really want to rebel against the system, dye your hair blue like me. That'll show the man. The 1990s never ended. Obviously not. I'm glad it's been a forever 1990s. I'm really enjoying this eternal 1990s, really. Seriously. 1990s forever. Super Bowl 2026. Who should they have gotten? If Jay-Z didn't control and Beyonce the NFL halftime show, who's selected, what would have been the best for America's 250th anniversary? Maybe like John Fogerty, CCR? Some kind of all-American artist like that. Tom Petty's dead, so... Okay, maybe Bruce Stinkstain, but not like an anti-ICE song like Born in the USA or something. Maybe John Cougar Mellencamp. Maybe just somebody like all-American, right? Somebody that kind of embodies Americana. Yeah. No, Kid Rock, it would be like, fuck this, yeah. It would have been too much like rap rock. Yeah. I mean, it would have been cool, like maybe Kid Rock plus like Kid Rock with Willie Nelson and CCR or something cool like that. Born on the bayou. Some Fortunate Son. They should sing like Fortunate Son at halftime and then show like Hunter Biden's picture. I ain't no senator's son, no. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one, no. But for your NFL music pleasure, people are going to get Green Day. Well, I'm going to have Red, White, and Blue Day to protest Green Day. Yeah, we're going to have Red, White, and Blue Day. And America 250 Artemis Launch to the Moon Day. So we'll see what happens if we get to. We're gonna cancel the NFL anyway. We're just gonna cancel that. Let's just skip the whole thing. I know many other Americans are gonna skip it because they're tired of just bullshit. You know, there's nobody like good representing the music of America up there. I mean, maybe a lot of the legends are dying and they're not, or they're dead already. Yeah, maybe that's true, but they could have done better than Green Day and Butt Buddy. I know that for sure. What about Aerosmith? You know, Aerosmith, they're still alive. I mean, the Bad Boys of Boston, they're American. The Bad Boys of Boston. New England Patriots. Bad Boys of Boston. I know they're older than shit, but Aerosmith, America's greatest rock and roll band, apparently. Yeah. They should have a halftime Pink Floyd reunion. Whoa. What about Fleetwood Mac? Fleetwood Mac. Halftime show. Why not? The Eagles. The Eagles. Whoever's still alive in the Eagles, put them up there. The Eagles. The eagle is the national symbol of America. So many other great options, right? That are still alive. But they weren't picked because Beyonce and fucking Jay-Z picks the fucking NFL, the American Football League halftime show, or the musical shows. Don't know how Jay-Z and Beyonce took over the selection process of the NFL halftime show, but they must have panicked. Yeah, they must have panicked when everybody was like, Butt Buddy, oh hell no. They were like, oh well, what are we gonna do? Well, put Green Day in spaghetti. That'll save our skins. They'll save us from the ratings catastrophe of Butt Buddy. You have 6 months to learn Spanish, America, if you haven't already. What? He said that on Saturday Night Live. Oh, in 6 months I'm at the halftime show, the Super Bowl. You have 6 months now to learn Spanish. Get fucked. Yeah. You have 6 months to suck my dick and to kiss my asshole. Yeah. You have 6 months to kiss my ass. You have 6 months to suck my balls. Speaking of which, all these old guys, you know, Julio Iglesias had sexual allegations against him. Steven Tyler of the aforementioned Aerosmith, sexual allegations against him. Now, that is a strange situation, though. I mean, if I was like a very wealthy 25-year-old rock star, let's say in an alternative universe. All right, let's say I was a 25-year-old rock star, lead singer of a really awesome band, and then some parents came up to me and they said, hey, we know you like our daughter. She's 15 or 16. We know that's illegal, but can you take guardianship of our daughter? Because we want her to have a great life. Because we like you a lot. That's a bizarre situation. You know what I mean? So, hey, some parents, they want to give you their daughter, even if you're not rich and famous. You know? Like, some people are like, oh, crap, my daughter's ugly. Like, she's got to get married. Like, no one wants my daughter. Get her out of here. You know, she's not exactly selling off the shelf here. You know, there's a lot of daughters that aren't really selling off. They're not selling. You know, they're not really hot items on the market there. And some parents, some fathers and mothers are like, man, I need to get this girl out of here, you know. I need to find a guy dumb enough to hook up with my daughter. Now, some guys are pretty wise. They're like, well, your daughter's, I'm not really interested, because you don't tell the parents like, well, your daughter's ugly. You don't say that. You think that, but you're like, oh no, thanks, I'm good. I enjoy staying single. I enjoy playing jacking off every morning, so and every night. So I'm fine. I enjoy masturbation a lot. So solo masturbation. Thanks. All right, but I enjoy spanking the monkey. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, but what if it's the different situation where it's not like somebody trying to just get rid of their inventory? What if it's like, you know, what if the woman's hot? What if the girl's hot? Does that change the scenario there? It could. Okay, what if a mother or father that has a smoking hot daughter is like, hey, Johnny, yeah, are you tired of the single life? Check this out. Check my daughter out. Why don't you ask her out? You know, she's you know, just needs a man in her life. You know, kind of set her on the right course and really complete her life. You know what I mean? Why don't you? And then you turn around and you're like, are you setting me up with a dog? When you look around, you're like, oh, this is a hot fucking babe. Well, that kind of changes the scenario, wouldn't it? Okay, most people with children, they want to like get rid of their daughters, get rid of their children, right? So. Some of these girls aren't really all that bad looking. Sometimes they're just not, you know, they're not Taylor Swifts or they're not Sydney Sweeney's or something. They're not like, you know, super hot. Sometimes these girls are trying to push off on us, or like they're not exactly Jenna Ortega's or Christina Ricci's, or they're not exactly what you would consider babes, but they're not dogs. They're not, you know, fucking real ugly or anything. It's just sometimes they're not exactly what we're dreaming of. You know, they're not exactly Rosamund Pike. They're not exactly Eva Green, right? They're not like, you know, these like amazing dime dream women's and shit. Men have great fantasy worlds, you know, and one of their fantasies is really attractive women. Whether that's realistic or not, that's what men fantasize about. Really, really, really attractive girls and women. So whether that's obtainable or not, guys really don't care. That's what guys have, a vivid imagination, you know. Maybe not every guy, but I'm saying. So a guy goes into a big group of human beings and he's like, okay, where's the hottest chicks? Where's the really, really hot babes? Where's the dime bomb, whatever? Where's the babe watch? And the women are kind of going around like, okay, who's the guy with the power? Who's the guy with all the money? Who's the guy who can get shit done? Who's the guy who can buy houses and buy cars and make six-figure income and scare other people? And who's the guy who's going to take charge like my daddy? You know, so that's what the girl's looking for. But the guy's just looking for, like, okay, who's the hottest? Who's the most beautiful? Who's the fairest maiden of them all? And the woman's looking for, okay, who's got money in here? Right, okay. Okay, who's got a great future, a great fucking job? Okay, who's it? So you see, like, men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So you see, these are like two different mindsets. What the men are looking for, what the women are looking for. It's kind of like, it's almost like not even on the same page. It's like men are looking at like beauty, and then women are looking for material security. So but as Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it, really? It was like something like that, huh? Something like in the funky department. Something happened to that F. I F'd my F up. You F'd the F up? Yeah. So that was the Jane's Addiction story. Yeah. I don't know if I exactly finished that one. Yeah. I think I got too drunk and then I wandered off course from the Jane's Addiction story about Keith Daniels and how we went to the Jane's Addiction concert, and so it was Dave Navarro from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jane's Addiction, and then it was Perry Farrell, Peripheral, the lead singer of Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros, the famous architect of pets. We'll make great pets, we'll make great pets, we'll make great pets, we'll make great pets. Yeah, I love that song, Porno for Pyros. Porno for Pyros. Yeah, when I was like 12, when I heard that, when my friend had the record Porno for Pyros, I was like, Porno for Pyros. Hilarious shit, you know? That's fucking hilarious ass shit. And we listened to it Pets, and it was like one of the best songs we ever heard. So I'd never seen Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro and Jane's Addiction live. But I heard their shit on the radio, like, late 80s and early 90s all the time. So it's pretty exciting. So we decided to, do a little marijuana cookies that I was baking at the time. And so we ate the cookies. Then we were kind of, I don't know at first if we were in the lobby and they kicked in, but then they kicked in and we were fucking ripped. And then so we got to find our seats all ripped out. So there's some strong chocolate chip marijuana cookies, but maybe not as strong as the one your science teacher, your chemistry teacher makes. So probably not as strong as the one your science teacher makes, right? Because he's like Walter White for Breaking Bad, so he knows scientifically what he's doing. He's a well-educated man. So he's a chemist. He's a scientist. He knows how to make great drugs, and great. He's not just a chef, but he's a scientist. So kind of brings the drugs to the next level. But and then I thought, hey Keith, I was like, look, there's some babes. They had some hot young chicks everywhere. I was like, dude, there's fucking babes everywhere. I can't believe this. But, yeah. The girls weren't there to see Scott Wheeler and Keith Daniels, though, is what I didn't comprehend at the time. So they were there to see Dave Navarro and Jane's Addiction and Perry Farrell. So I was like, walking up to like really beautiful girls, and I was like, hey, I'm here. Hey, what's your name? And stuff like, I'm fucking ripped. And they're just like in this trance, watching the show. And then eventually I'm just like, well, they don't fucking give a shit that I'm even here or that Keith is here or any other guy is here. They're just like fixated. Like, I want to fuck a rock star. I want to fuck a rock star. Like, and then, we knew the power of the rock and roll. I mean, I'd been to rock and roll concerts where the guy was there and he's just like, there's women swimming around him and stuff. But, I think it was at that moment, I had been to plenty of shows before I'd seen that stuff. But I think at the Jane's Addiction concert, I was like, these girls don't give a fuck that any other guy is breathing in here except for the guys on stage right now. I mean, it's just like, they're just, I can't wait to try to fuck them in the tour bus. Like, it's like, wow. Yeah. I didn't really try to hit on the girls too hard. It was just kind of like, hey, but they were just like in this fucking trance, But yeah, I did notice, man, that those Jane's Addiction guys, they're pulling out some dime bomb. I mean, some really sexy young girls, like all over the place. I remember like the energy of the show too, like Perry Farrell coming out. And he's like, ah! And I remember just like the energy of the concert was amazing. I know some people don't like him and think he's too flamboyant or he's, did heroin for 40 years or cocaine or whatever. But to me, he's definitely bringing the showmanship. He's definitely bringing the rock and roll. He's definitely bringing the show. At least so. He's definitely bringing the lust for life, which I don't think all artists really are really good at doing that. I give Perry Farrell and Jane's Addiction A+ on showmanship, on the lust for life. So on the zest for life. maybe it's easy to have a zest for life if you're a multimillionaire and there's like hundreds of young girls, sexy women that young women that want to have sex with you, even though you're like 60 years old. Maybe that does invigorate a man in a way that most ordinary men cannot imagine. So maybe that's part of it, or maybe he was just fucking ripped off drugs out of his mind. But a combination thereof. I don't know. Or maybe he really does have a lust for life, just naturally. She smell like fried chicken? Yep. Oh, too lady love. Yeah. Lady, I love you, honey bear. You're the magic love. Oh, I love you too. Yeah, you are a Shih Tzu. She's just such a magical Shih Tzu. Yeah, I love you, Shih Tzu. You're a magical miracle.
She's such a monkey. Ow!
Monkey.
She got monkeys.
Hey, with the monkeys.
I feel bad because one was really good.
What? Oh.
But really can't.
Oh.
But Bella was so scared.
Bella just cares about her old toys. She just cares about her.
Her balls and her balls.
I love you. Oh, you love your monkeys, huh, today? Okay.
I can always get Bella something she wants to play on. She loves to
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, hey, this is mine too.
Oh, yeah. Well, y'all need to share the pallies instead of being selfish. Yeah. Is it time for another mixer? Oh, am I out of the Diet Coke? The mixer.
You forgot to get
Yeah.
You can see how many ounces is that?
The 2-liter Coke?
Uh-huh.
67.6 fluid ounces.
I'm sorry, what?
67.6 fluid ounces.
67. And then what is a Diet Coke can? 12 ounces?
12 ounces.
So 12 times 5 is 56, 12 times 6 is 36, 12 times, oh crap.
What?
It's 12 ounces for a can.
Yeah.
That's 67. So, 6 times 6 is 36.
Yeah.
So it's double that.
Yeah.
That's way beyond my math right now.
do the mixer. Get the fizzler, get the fizzler, get the Rizzler. Don't tell the Riddler about my Bizzler. Got the Rizzler, got my Bizzler, got my Fizzler, mixer, elixir. That's the shit, sir. Ah. Now, I've been hearing about the Nipah virus. There used to be some days when before elections nothing would happen. It would just be elections would happen. It seems like elections since 2019, something crazy always happens before elections now. Some kind of crisis mysteriously happens. Yeah, that's weird. I'm sure I'm not the only one who finds it suspicious that a Chinese COVID-19 coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 plague occurs in the tail end of 2019, about a year out from a major presidential re-election. I know I'm not the only person who finds that suspicious. As the wise men once said, we're not conspiracy theorists, we're pattern recognizers. Me most of all, right? You know, photographic eidetic memory savant. Yeah, we're not conspiracy theorists, we're pattern recognizers. But you know what? If somebody does steal something, it's easier to catch them red-handed. It's easier to identify who the thieves are. So, you know. This is almost better because not only did you identify who the thieves were of the 2020 election, the Democrat Party and the liberal global world order, but you also, it really unmasks who these people are to the American public in a pretty major way. And it actually didn't bring us, we didn't have 8 years of Trump. We were actually going to have 12 years of Trump in a strange way. So if you're a Trump voter and a Trump fan and a Trump lover, a Trump aficionado, if you're a MAGA, if you're like me, a Make America Great Again kind of guy, then you know what? This is your dream come true. The Democrats have managed to give us 12 years of Donald Trump. All thanks to them. Thanks to their corruption and their electioneering. They made it longer. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and Joe Biden and Barack Hussein Obama and Bill and Hillary Clinton, they gave us 12 years of Donald Trump. Rosie O'Donnell, Bruce Springsteen, Ellen DeGeneres, Jimmy Kimmel, they're the ones responsible for it. So I want to thank the Democrat Party for showing the world who they are and for giving us 12 years of Trump. Thank you. Some people might say, like, how could that be? We voted against Trump. We defeated Trump. Did you? Really? Ultimately speaking? No, not really. They do have that old saying, that famous saying for men, which is called, chase a woman and she runs away from you. Don't chase the woman or she'll come after you. It's just like, it's the reverse. It's the famous reverse psychology. No, the expression is, chasing woman is like a shadow. If you chase it, it'll get away from you. But if you don't want it, then it comes after you. So that is the kind of the strange, counterintuitive psychology. Like, so the idea with Joe Biden and Barack Hussein Obama and the Clintons and the Democrat Party and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer was, we're going to weaponize the FBI against Trump, and we're going to raid Mar-a-Lago, and we're going to harass a former an ex. We're going to steal the election, and then we're going to harass him, and then we're going to charge him with 91 counts of crimes with our 4 prosecutors, Jack Smith, Fani Willis, Letitia James, and Alvin Bragg. Yeah. So the idea was, we're going to defeat him by stealing the election in 2020 using the Chinese plague from Wuhan Virology Institute. And we're going to cause mayhem with the George Floyd riots in Minneapolis, Minnesota, kind of a leftist Soros hotbed to cause riots and disturbances in. And then after we defeat Trump, then we're going to go after Trump, his family, and we're even going to go after his supporters and voters. We're going to weaponize all instruments of the government to go after voters and Trump supporters as if they are criminals. We're going to weaponize the justice system against Trump, honest, hardworking, legal citizens and voters. And then we're going to flood the country with fucking 10 to 12 illegal aliens, 10 to 12 million illegal aliens by Joseph R. Biden and Kamala Harris, the Democrat Party. So we're going to open the border to terrorists and cause even more chaos. And then the Democrats are going to try to secure permanent power by letting in illegal aliens and adversaries into the United States of America. So that was their plot and intention. And then Americans saw the $5 a gallon gas, and they said, and the 9% Biden inflation, and they said, oh, fuck no. And they were tired of the Democrat Party rule and them gaslighting with the fake news, liberal media, ABC, Dishonesty News, CBS, NBC, it used to be, NBC used to be Microsoft and NBC, and then Microsoft left, and then NBC left, so now it's BS now, I guess. Or then CNN, so they all rallied against Trump to defeat Trump and to spread the lies and did it work? Didn't seem to have backfired pretty horribly. Yeah. Is it wise to harass an ex-president? Has that ever been done before by a political party? Has that ever been done? Did Ronald Reagan persecute the Democrat Jimmy Carter and harass his family and send the FBI and put him on an enemies list and send the CIA to harass him and raid his mansion, raid his home? No, that's never happened in the history of the almost 250 years of the United States of America. That's never ever happened. That an ex-president was persecuted that much, that unconstitutionally, that illegally. And so the American people realized, hey, you stepped over a bridge way too far, the Democrat Party and the Biden-Harris administration. So that's fine. You know that I like to look at big titties online. That's fine if the government's just spying on American citizens, invading their privacy for arbitrary shit. But once the FBI and the intelligence services are being weaponized by one particular political party against American citizens to collect our data and invade our privacy in an attempt to control us and to beat us down and to lecture us on who we should vote for, what we should do politically, or what we should do with our lives, and trying to lie and spin and fucking gaslight us for fucking 4 damn years of our lives that we'll never get back. That's when I think they crossed a big motherfucking line. A line that they're really not gonna recover from this line that they crossed. Not in the 2026 elections. I don't even think they're going to recover from this line that they crossed even in 2028. I think it's going to take years for them to repair the damage that they've done, that the Democrat Party has done to the United States of America. I don't think American voters are going to trust them for many, many, many years to come because of their violations against the American citizen, the American voter, the American people, and a duly elected president of the United States of America, Donald John Trump. The theft was done so brazenly, so violently, so harshly in the name of power that American voters and citizens, us all, noticed. And before, maybe we wouldn't notice power grabs and they'd be more subtle. But this one was an obvious, major, nasty, almost third world power grab. One that American citizens were not used to. One that violent, one that vile, one that fucking corrupt. We had never seen a bunch of old farts grifting on the American taxpayer for 40, 50 years in the fucking Senate, like Joe Biden, this old cantankerous, dementia-ridden fuck, grifting for 50 years off American taxpayers, our whole lives or even more, and just totally stealing the 2020 election. It was vile. It was nasty. It was like my grandma stealing the United States of America. It was awful. Nancy might be old and decrepit like my grandmother, and she may not be able to hold any power in the United States government any longer. And Chuck Toomer is getting up there himself. He's still trying to give it a run, but he's obviously struggling. What, he's 75, 76, almost 77. He's really not going to be able to maintain power for that long. little did I know when I was 8 years old in 1988 that this corrupt ass piece of shit senator from Delaware was running for president called Joseph Robinette Biden. Yeah, I didn't know. I'm glad I didn't know about it because I would have been disillusioned if I was 8 years old and I knew about Joe Biden, that he even existed. Why didn't he defeat Herbert Walker Bush in the 1988 election? He had to withdraw because he was lying, because he plagiarized other speeches. Thieves usually have little creativity. So this Joe Biden guy is one of the biggest con artists, grifters in American history. One of the most corrupt, worst presidents in American history. One of the biggest fucking scams, shams, and charlatans of American history. He's going to go down. I know Bill O'Reilly and other guys say that it's going to be James Buchanan or something. But man, I think the most shit stinker president is going to go down as Joe Biden. From the 2020 it's going to be infamous how horrible it was. A guy so creatively inept, he can't even write his own shit. Now, there's a lot of uncreative people out there, and I get it. There's a lot of adult people out there. They couldn't come up with something new to save their own buttholes because they're just so boring. They're so dull that it's inconceivable. It is incomprehensible how boring and uncreative some people out there in the world are. And there's a lot. And for creative people, this may cause consternation, dismay, maybe even depression, maybe even sadness, maybe even despair that these dullards even exist. But they're around us every day, and they're at the colleges and universities. It's like you take a class that you're supposed to become a better writer, a better public speaker, and then somebody's in the corner using ChatGPT and using the AI to write their fucking English paper. They're everywhere, folks. These boring people. These dull assholes are all over this motherfucker. And it's pretty sad, I know. But they're everywhere. But well, it's hard being black and gifted because I'm here to get you lifted. That was a pretty good one, Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. He goes, it's hard being black and gifted, but I'm here to get you lifted. I like the part where he goes, I'm infinite, get off me, biatch. Yeah, that's pretty funny if you're smoking cones. If you're blowing bowls. All right. I'm infinite, get off me, biatch. Here's what we're going to have midterm erections. All right. Should we put it into a different kind of mode right now? Yeah, we're going to do yeah. Bam. We're going to go, nah, dog. Going infrared. We're going to infrared? No, we're not, dude. Yeah, we're going into luminous dome. We're going into fucking No, we're going. Are we going into cartoon? Or should we go into zombie mode? Yeah. What do we got? What does AI have to say about this, Dylan? What about Risen Zombie? Zombie mode. I drank too many Fizzlers. Minimalist? Perhaps a little bit of minimalism. What? No. Yeah. We're going to the beer. We're going to beer. To beer or not to beer? William Shakespeare. That is the question that preoccupies our existence. Yeah, that guy could write, man. William Shakespeare. That boy was deep, dog. So we're going thermal with it. Yeah. Watch out for the predators. Gee. Yeah. Blue Retro? I don't know about that one. Hard Eyes? No, there you go. That's one. Oh. What is that? Hey. Oh, we're going. Yeah. Might as well make it as a cartoon, dog. Get ready for the midterm erections. Erection. Ooh. We're about to sally forth. We have a wallet with Moonay in it. So we're going to take the Moonay to the store to do a financial transaction. Everybody feeling the financial structure of the transaction? All right, here we go. The temperature is dropping rapidly. I got my hood day. We have my stepdad's members only jacket from the 1980s. This will help with the pockets so we can handle that business. All right. We're on the mission to get the beer. See what's up with the effects. Yay! We get the beer. I hope you're not on weed. Okay, or maybe I'm hoping you're on weed. Hoping. The Mummy? I've arisen from the ancient alien pyramid. It's not Halloween, but we go forth into the night. That was an excellent performance right there. I thought it went an Oscar. We shall go forth into the night. We shall go forth into the dark night, in the cold chill of the new moon. That was, man, that can win Oscars, I think. You did good in that. All right, let's go now. All right, I'm gonna go get the beer. All right, love you. Oh yeah, well, love you. No, I got enough right here. No, I got members only. Okay. Yeah. What? Yeah. Well, that liquor store has been closed down for quite a while. Fascinating. Are they going out of business? Well, small boys find it difficult to compete with the big boys, I suppose. Big boys means big finance. So little boys get squashed by big finance. There's always a bigger fish. Oh, hey, how's it going? Whew. Damn. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much, sir. Good night. God bless. Well, how do I feel about deportation? I know that Joe Biden, the Democrats, and the cronies let in 10 to 12 million illegal aliens. And, you know, yeah, I'm not gonna hinder ICE from their operations in Houston or any other city in America, because if they're illegal, doesn't matter where they're from, but if they're legal citizens, they're not supposed to be here. Like, I was born here in America, in Houston, Texas. I'm supposed to be here because I'm a citizen of this country. And if you're not, then, well, if you get deported, that's your problem. So, you know, natives are supposed to be here. And non-natives, I mean, I never know illegal aliens from Haiti or Africa or wherever, China or Russia. I don't know if they're planning to do harm, or from Arabia or wherever they're from. You know, I can't trust everybody. So, yeah. I don't believe in a kumbaya, we are the world bullshit. So, I never have. Yeah. I always believed in America first, and I always will believe in America first. So, yeah. I'll do identification of criminals and illegals, but I'm not really going to make it my main mission. You know, I don't get paid to do that kind of stuff, so I don't get paid to identify people. At least not yet. At least not right now, but, you know, I can identify people. I mean, if you have a photographic memory, you can definitely identify people for sure. And bad people. Yeah, I just don't want bad people in my neighborhood. That's it. I think every American feels that way. It's not racism. It's not nationalism. It's just reality. Whew. Oh yeah, nippy out there. Woo. Nippy. Oh, sorry. When I get walking, it gets me moving with the poo poo.
Oh, go for a walk.
Yeah,
Hey,
I get to pooping.
I understand that that liquor store keeps being closed.
Yeah, me too.
Are you sure he doesn't own that smoke shop next door and then you just walk through into the liquor store? But
No, I think
but it's
I
not-
think they got
but-
beaten by specs and they're
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
because
thinking.
it's dark and he doesn't have an open sign and the car's not there.
I never see the cars. I never see the open sign.
Right.
I think the Nigerian guy's going out of business.
What do you mean?
The Nigerian owner's going out of business. I don't see the kid. I don't see him.
Oh, at the at the convenience store?
No, the liquor store.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the local liquor store's going out of
So
business.
they don't all own everything? The
No.
convenience store, the liquor store?
No, the smoke shop was owned by somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are different people.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen the liquor store open in a long time.
I know.
Yeah, I think they're going out of business.
Kind of like,
Huh?
whatever, that chicken place
Yeah.
that used to be Fuddruckers and Arby's.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I can't say.
They were having bright lights around.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't gonna last.
Oh, I knew that little liquor store wasn't gonna last.
Oh,
Not to
yeah.
get specs and.
I didn't think they would either.
They couldn't make enough money to.
Right. Only two bottles of Levi and two bottles of vodka and, low overhead.
Yeah. He would have to.
No, but paying the rent and,
You got to pay the rent.
yeah,
You got to pay the lights.
yeah.
You got to pay the energy. And then he doesn't even have beer. That's like, you're not going to make any money. Huh? What?
I thought it was stupid to have a liquor store right there anyway.
I thought his whole business model was I'm going to undercut specs.
No, he can't undercut specs, he's more expensive.
Yeah.
People driving in from, Chipping Forest neighborhood.
Yeah.
And not wanting to go over to specs.
Yeah, and even pharmacies have wine now. So there's no way he could have any kind of business edge.
But it's like Walgreens, what the hell? When I got there at 6, I don't know if the lights were on in the front of it. I don't think the pharmacy was even open anymore.
They're afraid of black people or what?
No, too long. Everything's COVID and everything. Has not been good for Walgreens.
Yeah, ever since the plague, they've been closing early. Not because the city's got more ghetto from non-white people or foreigners or whatever. Started closing because of the homies in the hood, don't. Everything's getting ghetto in H-Town. No, I'm just joking around. All right. Houston turning into the hood town. Yeah. The ghetto. Ghetto Metro Brain, nigga, what came in the mail? Bombs over Ukraine, yeah. Don't leave the bank unless you plan to hit something. Bombs over Baghdad, yeah. Don't leave the bank unless you plan to hit something. Bombs over Iran, yeah. You can just replace whatever the new war is with that song. Bombs Over Baghdad by the Dungeon Family from Atlanta. Outcast. Yeah. What? Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, what's going on? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Tiny beer. Okay. Yeah, I'm basically. I think you Bruce. Oh, okay. All right. I love you too, baby. You've been very pretty today. Oh, you got salmon in that too. Oh, you melt my heart, Tula. Tula, you're too cute to even be real. Tula, too cute. Tula, too cute. Tula, too cute. Tula, too cute. What? I'll get it. Won't you take me to a trophy town? Won't you take me to a funky town? Yeah. Won't you take me to a trophy town? What? Yeah. Hello? Fern, baby, fern. Disco and Fernstone. Do they like that one? Yeah, they love that one. Fern, baby, fern. Disco and Fernstone. I mean, well, the Nigerian liquor store, they tried to, undercut Specs Liquors, which is, yeah.
And I'll look too.
Yeah.
Should I take it easy on the cigarettes?
Okay.
Because I don't have money to buy anymore.
Low on the Stokes?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Don't have money.
Okay. Women and children, starving, homeless, Whitey on the moon. Women and children on welfare in the ghetto, Darky on the moon. People in the streets, homeless, going broke, women on the moon. That'd be the new protest song, that there's black people and white and women on the moon. Women on the moon. And then for the black guy, it would be Darky on the moon. The revolution will not be televised. Gil Scott-Heron. I did listen to that record. I don't really Whitey on the moon. Whitey on the moon. So what? So when they put Asian people and black people and women on, I could be like Darky on the moon. Because they did Whitey on the moon. So I could do like Yellow Man on the moon. Yeah, why not? They did it to us, so we did it back to them, right? I mean, it's all fair game. There's people starving in the streets. Can't afford their eggs. Women on the moon. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we can do it back. That's fine. People on welfare. People can't find a job. Replaced by AI. Darky on the moon. Yeah, that's fair game. We do we do the Gil Scott-Heron parody called Darky on the Moon. Yeah, I mean, I'm not part of South Park and Matt Stone and Trey Parker. I might as well be at this point. Because, you know what I mean? Does the universe really give a fuck who goes to the moon or goes to Mars? I don't think the universe gives a shit what the person is that does anything in the universe. I don't think the universe actually gives a fucking shit like what mankind does. Like, just saying. But it's important to us, so that's okay. I know the liberal media is like, a woman made it to Mars. The universe doesn't give a flying shit who made it to Mars, or who makes it out of the solar system, or who goes to the Andromeda galaxy the universe doesn't give a shit, never will give a shit, and yeah, the universe doesn't give a shit, it never will give a shit as well. And that, I guess that's you know, but we as human beings, we clap like seals. We're like, ah, woman on Mars, woo, man goes to Saturn, blah blah blah. But you know what? Ultimately, there's no God, there's no alien, there's nobody that really cares. I don't think that we go to these things, but we do these things for our entertainment, you know. So. Yeah. That doesn't have anything to do with what I'm going to talk about next. That's just my diploma thing. But here's the real deal. Space Fest 1989, right here. Meet Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon. It also had Star Trek: The Next Generation, Counselor Deanna Troi. I saw her when I was 8 years old. Even before I hit my puberty, I was still like, woo! You know, that girl, that Greek goddess is hot. That Marina Sirtis. But this is the real deal. Second man on the moon, Buzz Aldrin. Boo! I'm going to put this up very quickly because I don't want to spill a beer on this. So, spill a beer, but don't want to have a buzz on Buzz Aldrin. So I kept my original space shuttle schematic. U.S. Space Shuttle Glider Kit. Of course, I never put it together. And then Marina Sirtis from Star Trek: The Next Generation. She signed it right there. Boom. Look, she has really elegant. Look at that. Man, her education must have been great. Look at that fantastic handwriting. So, Marina Sirtis. There it is. Boom. Yeah. Well, it was kind of the deal with Star Trek. You had your old school Trekkies, like my stepdad and his brothers, and kind of like me, grew up with old school Star Trek too, watching the original series in the 1980s reruns and watching the movies in the 1980s. So when Star Trek: The Next Generation came out, it was kind of like, you know, the old Trekkies were kind of like, oh, I don't know if I like this, like, you know, kind of really critical of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And to be fair, the first two seasons weren't all that great, except for a few episodes. And so it didn't hit its stride right off the bat. It was very wobbly at first. Maybe it had to do with Gene Roddenberry kind of holding it back. But from evolving into a show of the late 20th century and beyond. So... I can get a beer stain on this now. No, I don't. Get a beer stain. Well, some people think that the second man on the moon autograph is very valuable. It is. But what's more valuable is if you have Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. So if you have more Apollo members on your signatures, then the price goes up. So... Buzz Aldrin, Eugene Buzz Aldrin just turned 96. He's going for that long game. God bless him. May he live to 100 and beyond, like Dick Van Dyke. Yeah, I don't want him to die so that my autograph goes up. I mean, that's ridiculous line of thought. That's kind of a sadistic way of thinking, right? I want you to die so I can make more money. Kind of dark, yeah. Obviously, that's a moral way to think. So, even if it's really, even if it was like the most famous person ever, you know, like the most, like it was like astronaut that had went through a wormhole and met the first alien civilization or something crazy, you know, some incredible historical achievement. Even if it was that, you know, you still wouldn't want the guy to die so you could make more money off your autograph or something. So, yeah, just being human here. Being a human being, you have to look out for your human brethren to some extent, I suppose. So... Well, the thing about Neil Armstrong is that you couldn't get an autograph after like 1992. He stopped giving autographs about 1992, 1993. Yeah, so you had to get them in the 1980s or sometime, and I was a little bit too young to get all the Apollo astronauts. I would have liked to have tried, but it would have been, you know, Thanos trying to get the Infinity Stones. At some point, it would have become complex in terms of the timeline. So, or the Avengers trying to get the Infinity Stones. As long as I didn't get beer on my Buzz. I didn't get a Buzz and get beer on my Buzz Aldrin autograph from 1989. Or was that? Yeah, 1989. Like the Taylor Swift album when she was born. 1989. When the world was perfect or whatever. Was the world perfect in 1989? No. It seemed that way. It seemed like everybody could find a good job and, you know, if you weren't yeah. I'm not saying it was like honky dory or some shit like that. It definitely was not that. So I think what the difference is between like the golden age, the post-war, the baby boomer America. I think what the real difference is that everybody that wanted a job could find a really good job, that wanted to work. Like if you wanted to work and not be a loser, and you wanted to get laid, and you wanted to have a woman, and you wanted to have babies, and you wanted to have a house, you wanted to have a future for mankind, it was really, really available to you. Like for most people, ordinary men and women. And I think that's the difference between then and now. That's why people look, oh, remember the glory days when... Yeah. It wasn't perfect. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I remember everybody, even like the biggest losers, were able to get a job that paid and they could buy a house and still have a girlfriend and still have a wife and still have children. I remember like even the most fucking, you know, craziest motherfuckers could have the American dream. And now it's only for an elite a bunch of people or people that just work their ass off like automaton slaves or they're already rich in the first place. So So I do remember an economy in America that was for everybody. You know, that was all for America. That was for everybody. Maybe that ended when Bill Clinton sold out the United States with the NAFTA free trade agreement and outsourced manufacturing to China and India. Maybe that was the end of the American dream. And maybe that was the end of the good old days or whatever. You know, the end of American manufacturing was the end of American supremacy. It was the end of the real pure American dream. It was the end of the good old days. It was the end of the happy times. You know. I think why most people look on the 1980s, the post-war period, World War II period, fondly, the baby boomer period, with such rose-colored glasses. I think they're because they're like, well, man, even like the biggest fuck up can succeed. Like you could fail your way up, you know. But now you have to be methodical and careful. Every single move, you got to calculate it exactly, or you won't win this chess game at all. And so that's very true. So I think back in the day, like, you know, your cousin Eddie could fucking get a wife and kids and have a house and have a good job. And now it's not available anymore for people like, for just ordinary people anymore. So. Yeah. So it was incredible because, like in the America of old, it seemed like this motley crew of like the craziest motherfuckers could have jobs and girlfriends and wives, and they could have children, they could have their own houses, their own worlds, and it just seems so available back then. Like and everything was cheaper, and the dollar was a lot stronger. America was a lot stronger before NAFTA and Bill Clinton. And I guess it was the Democrats and Bill Clinton that just set the country on a total collision course with ultimate disaster. Even though no one really noticed it at the time because Bill Clinton was cool. He liked getting his dingling sucked in the Oval Office, and he liked eating cheeseburgers, and he liked playing saxophone with Fleetwood Mac, and no one seemed to notice. As long as a red-blooded American likes cheeseburgers and chicks and money, then he's a great American. You know what I mean? But nobody realized him and the Clintons, Bill Clinton and Hillary, were selling Americans out by the pound, by the dollar load with the NAFTA the North American Free Trade Agreement to outsource American manufacturing to China and to these third world, at one time, hellholes like India and so on. So that hollowed out the Midwest and the manufacturing base in America, and it made America weak, even though we're one of the biggest countries, land mass and populations, in the world, and with some of the greatest resources. So that was an awful move tactically. That might have been done by the global elites to screw us in the ass. So maybe it was George Soros or Satan or somebody wanted to weaken the eagle, wanted to bring down America from its global hegemonic power. But whoever did this to us did it systematically, step by step. It doesn't mean they actually won. So you can lose some battles. It doesn't mean the war's lost, though. So hey, oh, who are you texting?
Oh, Jim.
Oh,
Say hi. He was freezing and was it waiting over up there?
oh yeah. Is it like already?
It's already freezing up there. At 11, it's going to be freezing here.
All right, I'll pour a little one so you kind of. I was pour a little. That's all right. Okay. Oh, you don't have to do dishes while you're doing drinks. All right. Thanks, Mom. Okay.
I told Jim you called too scrappy dude.
You thought that was funny? I called him Scrappy Doo.
That was hilarious.
Oh, that Scrappy Doo was hilarious.
Instead of Scooby Doo.
Scrappy Doo. Yeah. So the Midwest was hollowed out by NAFTA and outsourcing to third world countries and adversarial nations that never should have had manufacturing control over the United States of America. Never, ever. Never, ever should third world adversarial nations, ones that believe in communism, be in control of most of the world's manufacturing of goods and services and medicine and critical technology and minerals. But it did happen. But so it's time for Americans to make American products again, to bring manufacturing home to the United States of America. So I think Donald John Trump and our allies are working hard to make sure that happens. Again, make America great again. Yeah, they hollowed out the Midwest, Michigan, Minnesota. Illinois, etc. They had that famous, Chrissy Hines song. Hey, oh, where did you go, Ohio? China's not winning this war, though. Communism isn't winning this war. It never will win this war. And so that's the good news. So when Artemis 2 launches successfully and flies to the dark side of the moon with the America 250th anniversary on its structure, then the entire world will know that America's back, baby. America, fuck yeah. So it's only a matter of time. America is too big. It's too strong. You know? To be pushed around by the entire world. So it's only a matter of time before America starts pushing back. When that time has come. And now soon Iran will fall, the IRGC, the Ayatollahs of Iran. A main antagonist, a nexus of terrorism towards America's enemies, the Chinese Communist Party and the Russian Federation. I really don't think that it's good to have Russian Federation as an enemy, but I don't think that we should be at war with Russians, Europe or the United States. I think it's wrong to be at war with Russia. It's just they show no sign of wanting to be our friends. So they have a massive landmass, lots of resources, an authoritarian KGB thug in control, but he can't stay in control forever because he's 70 years old. And maybe people 70 years old think with a lot of power, a lot of money, that maybe Bill Gates or somebody who's 70 or almost 70, maybe they think they're going to be in control for the next 10 to 20 years. But the reality is that they're going to die, just like everybody else. So even Xi Jinping of the Chinese Communist Party is having trouble. He had to purge his generals, purge his government just recently. Yeah, it's weird to see. It's strange to see Chinese communists rebelling against the Chinese Communist Party. It's weird to see Chinese people rebel against their own government. That's a bizarre thing. We haven't seen that since 1989, Tiananmen Square massacre, where they massacred all the students in the protests for speaking out. We haven't seen that kind of rebellion against the Chinese people against their own government since COVID. When they were locked down, they sealed them up into the apartments to die with no help. There was only so long the Chinese people were going to put up with that. There's only so long that a people are going to handle oppression. There's only so long people are going to tolerate it. And we thought the Chinese people would just roll over whatever the Chinese Communist Party said, whatever their authoritarian edicts were. from Mao Zedong, whatever their communist instructions were, they would just blindly follow without any rebellion. But as we have seen, that is not the case. As we have seen, those people that are called insects are human after all. Imagine that. Wow. It is something to see Chinese people rebel against the Chinese Communist Party, their own government, when they know they'll be punished for it, when they know they'll be disappeared, when they know they'll be tortured and sent off to concentration camps, when they know that, and they still fight back anyway. It's really bold resistance. It's really admirable. It's impressive when the Iranian protesters protest against their theocratic Islamic government and they seek to overthrow them because they're demanding their rights. They're demanding their economic and personal freedoms and liberties. It is amazing when all these countries under authoritarian and communist and totalitarian rule are all rebelling en masse. It is beautiful. It is beautiful to behold that they're actually rising up like that. And even if the resistance isn't successful in overthrowing their governments, they're at least making a point that they will eventually do so. And they will fight back against their government and overthrow tyrannical governments, totalitarian, authoritarian systems. And they will do it together. That is a gorgeous thing. And so it's beautiful to behold. It's beautiful that there are limits that humans can be pushed to, that they'll start to push back. That's a great thing. As if not, we'd just be like cattle herded to the next farm. We're not human beings after all. So the Chinese Communist Party, they instituted during COVID outbreak, the global pandemic, they started to seal up their own people in their apartments to die. And they couldn't get food and they couldn't get out. They were suffering and dying and they were fucking starving. And the Chinese communists, the Chinese people started to protest or rebel against the Chinese Communist centralized authority, the People's Republic of China. So right now, the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Carrier Group is in the Persian Gulf or the Arabian Gulf right now. And they're situated the Ayatollahs, the Islamic Iranian government, has some reports say they killed 5,000 people. Some reports are grimmer that they killed at least 30,000 protesters and imprisoned and starved and killed more. And now the entire USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group of the United States Armed Forces, Naval and Air Force and Space Force are all situated in the Arabian Gulf, the Persian Gulf, as it were. It says, well, when I look on Google Maps, it says Arabian Gulf and it says Persian Gulf, but you can, whatever. You can call it, I think most people traditionally call it the Persian Gulf. It's right there, all the United States Navy right there with all the warships, all the F-16s, all the fighters, and they're all ready to do one thing. And this one thing is destroy Ayatollah Khomeini and his regime and allow the Persians and the Iranians to topple this destructive, evil regime, facilitator of North Korea and the Chinese Communists and the Russian Federation, and it will fall shortly. Not only will the Ayatollahs fall, not only will the Islamic Republic of Iran fall, but then America will blast a rocket to the moon to fly on the eve of America's 250th birthday and fly two white men, a black man and a woman, to space to fly around the moon and the dark side and return them back to Earth on a rocket more powerful than the Atlas rocket that launched John Glenn back in the day and the Apollo missions on the Artemis 2 mission by February 8th, 2026. Epic. Well, I said exploring the universe was meaningless, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe God does notice human aspiration. Maybe God does care who wins, good versus evil. Maybe aliens, other consciousness, other dimensional beings, maybe they do care who reaches out to the universe. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe somebody does care about that. Maybe somebody cares about human beings reaching other celestial bodies in the heavens. And maybe that's important in the history of life, the history of the universe, the history of time, space, and existence. Maybe that's all true. Ever since I was a kid, I was a space enthusiast. So I watched Star Trek and Star Wars, and I loved it. I loved the tales of the beyond worlds, and I loved it. So it was the culmination. Going to NASA, meeting Buzz Aldrin, it was like the culmination of my childhood dream. Meeting space explorers, meeting people on the edge of the new frontier. It was so exciting. And it was just so, sparks were flying in my head. Sparks were flying in my dreams. It was lighting up my imagination that America was a country that could achieve all this and more. Because America had the freedom to do so. America wasn't trying to conquer the moon or Mars for any kind of military imperialistic objective, but that people were doing exploration like the frontiersmen and women of old. The pure goal of exploration was the highest paramount. That the goal of exploration was knowledge at its heart, at its core, that it was goodwill and good faith to all men and women, that it was the main goal of exploration was not conquest. It was not imperial domination. It was not communist or totalitarian order. It was not a fascist Nazi dictatorship. It was not a Stalinistic Mao Zedong communist order. The point of space exploration, like any other exploration, was to discover. The whole point of space exploration, mankind's exploration, was the journey was gaining the knowledge of the exploration itself and going on such dangerous missions and the achievements that they would engender And that was the point of exploring the frontier. It wasn't trying to conquer it. It was trying to explore it and to deal with the ramifications of the discoveries of exploration. And that was the main goal. Not to build weapons of mass destruction, not to cause ills in outer space, not to cause pain and suffering and dominion, but to spread the joy of exploration. As a kid discovers a forest, that was our main goal. It was a pure goal. It was one that was pure of heart. Not a goal of conquest, not a goal of military domination, not a goal of putting more weapons everywhere and garbage. The goal was exploration, to understand these mysteries, to solve them for the good of man, as John Fitzgerald Kennedy said, and we choose to go to the moon. To solve these mysteries. Who is God? Why are we here? These are worthy questions. And they're questions that need answering. Where are we from? Why are we here? What are we supposed to do? What is the point of life? We have to know this. Plasma band price as most.
President Kennedy, Mr. Vice President, Governor, Congressman Thomas, Senator Wiley, and Congressman Miller, Mr. Webb, Bell, scientists, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your President having made me an honorary visiting professor, and I will assure you that my first lecture will be very brief. I am delighted to be here, and I'm particularly delighted to be here on this occasion. We meet in a college noted for knowledge, in a city noted for progress, in a state noted for strength, and we stand in need of all three. For we meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. Despite the striking fact that most of the scientists that the world has ever known are alive and working today, despite the fact that this nation's own scientific manpower is doubling every 12 years in a rate of growth more than 3 times that of our population as a whole, despite that, the vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of about a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced men had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct all kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a car with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. And now, if America's new spacecraft succeeds in reaching Venus, we will have literally reached the stars before midnight tonight. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. New ignorance, new problems, new dangers. Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this city of Houston, this state of Texas, this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. This country was conquered by those who move forward, and so will space. William Bradford, speaking in 1630 of the founding of the Plymouth Bay Colony, said that all great and honorable actions are accompanied with great difficulty, and both must be enterprised and overcome with answerable courage. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind in this race for space. Those who came before us made certain that this country rode the first waves of the Industrial Revolution, the first waves of modern invention, and the first wave of nuclear power. And this generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it. For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond. And we have vowed that we shall not see it governed by a hostile flag of conquest, but by a banner of freedom and peace. We have vowed that we shall not see space filled with weapons of mass destruction, but with instruments of knowledge and understanding. Yet the vows of this nation can only be fulfilled if we in this nation are first, and therefore we intend to be first. In short, our leadership in science and industry, our hopes for peace and security, our obligations to ourselves as well as others, all require us to make this effort, to solve these mysteries, to solve them for the good of all men, and to become the world's leading spacefaring nation. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. Whether it will become a force for good or ill depends on man. And only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new ocean will be a sea of peace or a new terrifying theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space any more than we go unprotected against the hostile use of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made in extending his grip around this globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind, and its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too. It is for these reasons that I regard the decision last year to shift our efforts in space from low to high gear as among the most important decisions that will be made during my incumbency in the office of the presidency. In the last 24 hours, we have seen facilities now being created for the greatest and most complex exploration in man's history. We have felt the ground shake and the air shattered by the testing of a Saturn C-1 booster rocket, many times as powerful as the Atlas which launched John Glenn, generating power equivalents to 10,000 automobiles with their accelerator on the floor. We have seen the site where 5 F-1 rocket engines, each one as powerful as all 8 engines of the Saturn combined, will be clustered together to make the advanced Saturn missile, assembled in a new building to be built at Cape Canaveral, as tall as a 48-story structure, as wide as a city block, and as long as 2 lengths of this field. Within these last 19 months, at least 45 satellites have circled the Earth. Some 40 of them were made in the United States of America, and they were far more sophisticated and supplied far more knowledge to the people of the world than those of the Soviet Union. The Mariner spacecraft now on its way to Venus, is the most intricate instrument in the history of space science. The accuracy of that shot is comparable to firing a missile from Cape Canaveral and dropping it in this stadium between the 40-yard lines. Transit satellites are helping our ships at sea to steer a safer course. Tyrant satellites have given us unprecedented warnings of hurricanes and storms, and will do the same for forest fires and icebergs. We have had our failures, but so have others, even if they do not admit them, and they may be less public. To be sure, we are behind, and will be behind for some time in manned flight. But we do not intend to stay behind, and in this decade, we shall make up and move ahead. The growth of our science and education will be enriched by new knowledge of our universe and environment, by new techniques of learning and mapping and observation, by new tools and computers for industry, medicine, the home, as well as the school. technical institutions such as Rice will reap the harvest of these gains. And finally, the space effort itself, while still in its infancy, has already created a great number of new companies and tens of thousands of new jobs. Space and related industries are generating new demand in investment and skilled personnel. And this city, and this state, and this region will share greatly in this growth. What was once the furthest outpost on the old frontier of the West will be the furthest outpost on the new frontier of science and space. Houston, your city of Houston, with its manned spacecraft center, will become the heart of a large scientific and engineering community. During the next 5 years, the National Aeronautic and Space Administration expects to double the number of scientists and engineers in this area, to increase its outlays for salaries and expenses to $60 million a year, to invest some $200 million in plant and laboratory facilities, and to direct or contract for new space efforts over $1 billion of this center in this city. To be sure, all this costs us all a good deal of money. This year's space budget is 3 times what it was in January 1961, and it is greater than the space budget of the previous 8 years combined. That budget now stands at $5.4 billion a year, a staggering sum, though somewhat less than we pay for cigarettes and cigars every year. Space expenditures will soon rise some more, from 40 cents per person per week to more than 50 cents a week for every man, woman, and child in the United States. For we have given this program a high national priority, even though I realize that this is, in some measure, an act of faith and vision, for we do not now know what benefits await us. But if I were to say, my fellow citizens, that we shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away from the control station in Houston, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall, the length of this football field, made of new metal alloys, some of which have not yet been invented, capable of standing heat and stresses several times more than have ever been experienced, fitted together with a precision better than the finest watch, carrying all the equipment needed for propulsion, guidance, control, communications, food, and survival, on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth, re-entering the atmosphere at speeds of over 25,000 miles per hour, causing heat about half that on the temperature of the sun, almost as hot as it is here today, and do all this, and do it right, and do it first, before this decade is out, then we must be bold. I'm the one who's doing all the work, so the voices stay cool for a minute. However, I think we're going to do it. And I think that we must pay what needs to be paid. I don't think we ought to waste any money, but I think we ought to do the job. And this will be done in the decade of the 60s. It may be done while some of you are still here at school at this college, university. It will be done during the terms of office of some of the people who sit here on this platform. But it will be done. And it will be done before the end of this decade. And I am delighted that this university is playing a part in putting a man on the moon as part of a great national effort of the United States of America. Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there. and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. Thank you.
What the hell are you doing?
Good thing.
No, Bella.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Want it back down? So, put it down. Now she's wondering.
I'll put her back on the bed.
She's barking, I'll let her back down.
It's
I'm gonna go poke it, I came back and put stuff over in the dryer.
I know you took time.
Yeah, I thought it was her out too.
I love you.
Oh, she's looking at you. Tula, come here. Now. Get out of here. Leave Tula alone. I mean, Bella alone.
Hey, I love you, Mom. What's the overview? Artemis 2 mission, go. Okay, the mission to the moon. What's the moon engine?
Artemis 2 is NASA's mission to the moon, launching in early 2026. It'll be the first time that humans have visited the moon in over 50 years, but it's more like a test flight. 4 astronauts will fly to the far side of the moon on a 10-day journey, using the most powerful manned rocket to date. Today, I'm going to break down Artemis 2 for you in 3 parts: the spacecraft, the mission, and the crew. So let's go. Before we get to the mission, I want to explain the Artemis 2 spacecraft real quick. So the whole rocket that they're using is called the Space Launch System, or usually just called the SLS. It has 2 solid rocket boosters on both sides, a lot like the Space Shuttle, and an orange core stage in the middle. On Artemis 2, the solid rocket boosters have something to make them really unique. They have a giant America 250 logo painted on top of both of them to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, which is in 2026. Pretty cool, especially considering that this rocket was made by engineers from every state in the United States. The next rocket stage is called the Interim Cryogenic Propulsion Stage, or ICPS. Above that is the upper stage, Orion. Orion is really the star of this rocket, and it has a few major sections too. This bottom section is the European Service Module, or ESM, and it provides power and propulsion. It's the way that Orion gets around in space. Then there's the crew module, sometimes called the capsule, and this is where the astronauts live and work. In fact, the astronauts will stay in this capsule the entire mission. On Artemis 2, the crew have named their capsule Integrity. When the entire mission is done, this capsule is the only part that will return back to Earth. And finally, this top tower bit is called the Launch Abort System, or LAS. Hopefully the astronauts won't need it, but if they do, it can actually pull the capsule away from the rest of the rocket if there was a major malfunction or an explosion, and hopefully save the astronauts' lives. If you want to learn more about the SLS, I have a whole video about that right here. Now that we know our spacecraft, let's talk about the Artemis 2 mission specifically. As I mentioned before, Artemis 2 is a test mission. Artemis 1, the first test of the Space Launch System, it launched back in 2022 and was an amazing success. But Artemis 1 was uncrewed. Now it's time to test this full system with crew on board. And this crew is going to be able to test out a lot more of the human-centric features. Docking, radiation shielding, communication, eating.
The four of us will gather to share meals when we're on our 9-day trip around the moon. Inside here, our device will be able to portion out water to fill up water bags for us to drink, but also to rehydrate the food.
Sleeping, exercise.
This is the flyable device. But what I kind of want you to imagine is a rowing machine. So we can do rowing, like a cardiovascular workout, can do weightlifting with it. So we can do squats, we can do deadlifts, we can do curls, varied levels of resistance to really put a lot of stress on our muscles and our bones.
Going to the bathroom.
Inside the capsule, this would be the floor. You would float over to it, open up this hinging door, float on in.
All the human things that we couldn't test before. Artemis 2 will launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida from Launch Pad 39B. Launch Pad 39B launched Apollo 10 to the moon in the 1960s and many shuttle missions, including this shuttle mission that I got to see launch when I was a kid. And it will launch as early as February 5th, 2026. And when the countdown hits 0, it's going to be the most powerful manned rocket launch in history. 2 minutes into launch, we're going to jettison the solid rocket boosters and be left just with the core stage powering it into low Earth orbit. And this is when the Launch Abort System will be jettisoned as well. 8 minutes in, the core stage is out of fuel, and so it's going to separate and fall back to Earth, while the second stage, the ICPS, ignites and gives the final push to get the crew into space. After 2 burns, the ICPS is going to have Orion in an elliptical high Earth orbit. And so now Orion is going to be 46,000 miles away from Earth on the far side, and the close side of its orbit is going to be 115 miles from Earth. And this orbit will take about 1 day to complete. During this first day, Orion is going to separate from the ICPS and begin to do a docking practice maneuver. In the coming years, Orion will dock with the lunar lander and the Gateway Station. So we need to know, how well does the autopilot work? Do the thrusters work the way we expect them to? If you remember the 2 astronauts who were stuck in space for a while, Butch and Sunny, last year, they were testing out a new spacecraft called Starliner. And the whole reason that NASA kept them on the space station for months instead of weeks was because of bad thrusters. We need to make sure Orion does not have similar issues. Once Orion passes back by the Earth, it's going to reignite its engine for the translunar injection, or TLI. This is the final push to get our astronauts to the moon for a free return trajectory. What is a free return trajectory, you may ask? It means the gravity of the moon and the Earth will naturally bring Artemis 2 back home. No additional burns required. This is a great idea for a test spacecraft like Orion. If anything goes wrong with Artemis 2, it'll just naturally come back to Earth using gravity alone. This is actually the same flight path that ended up saving the Apollo 13 astronauts after their disaster on the way to the moon. For Artemis 2, the journey to the moon is going to take 4 days. During that time, the crew is going to be running emergency procedures, including what to do in case of a major radiation event. See, if humans are going to do these long missions that we're talking about, like going to the moon or maybe one day going to Mars, we have to figure out how to deal with deep space radiation. Orion has a shelter on board, and the astronauts are going to test and see how effective it is in actual use. Alright, so as I mentioned before, Artemis 2 is not a lunar landing. The astronauts are not going to be walking on the moon for this mission. This is a lunar flyby mission. If you're at all familiar with the Apollo 8 mission from the 1960s, that's the Christmas Apollo flight, this mission is really similar. Their flight is going to take them 230,000 miles away from the Earth to the far side of the moon. As you may already know, there's a side of the moon that always faces the Earth, and then there's a far side of the moon that we will never see from standing on the Earth's surface. And that's the destination for our Artemis 2 astronauts. This is a simulation of what that flyby mission for Artemis 2 is going to look like. This is actually what the astronauts will see. The closest the astronauts will get to the lunar surface is about 4,600 miles. After the flyby, Orion will do any necessary little corrections that it needs to land precisely at the right place and the right time back on Earth. After another 4 days, Integrity will separate from the ESM and re-enter the atmosphere for splashdown. They will splash down in the Pacific Ocean, be picked up by the United States Navy, and complete their 10-day mission. All right, so let's talk about the crew. There are 4 astronauts on board Artemis 2. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen. As you might guess, these 4 people are exceptional, some of the best, the exact people you would pick on an Artemis 2 mission. I'm going to highlight just a couple of things that stood out to me about each one of their bios, but seriously, you need to go read them. I've linked them all in the description of this video. These are incredible people who have done amazing things in their lifetimes. Reed Wiseman will serve as the commander for Artemis 2. He is a 27-year Navy veteran, a pilot, father, an engineer, and a Baltimore native. Wiseman has been an astronaut since 2009, and he's logged 167 days in space. Victor Glover will be the pilot for Artemis 2. He's a test pilot, a legislative fellow with the United States Senate, a father, and an engineer from California. He served in Operation Iraqi Freedom and has flown 40 aircraft across 24 different combat missions. And Glover has been an astronaut since 2013. Christina Cook is a mission specialist on Artemis 2. She's an electrical engineer, an Antarctic explorer, a firefighter, and has worked on major scientific programs for both NASA and NOAA. She grew up on a family farm in Michigan and attended North Carolina State University. She's been an astronaut since 2013 and holds the record as the woman with the longest single spaceflight, almost a full year. And finally, we have Jeremy Hansen. Hansen is a Canadian astronaut, and he will be a mission specialist for Artemis 2. He's a pilot, a physicist, a colonel with the Canadian military, an aquanaut, and a father. He first got his wings when he was just 16 years old and became a firefighter pilot for the Royal Canadian Air Force. He became a CSA astronaut in 2009, and in 2017, he became the first Canadian astronaut to lead a NASA astronaut class. And get this, Artemis 2 is going to be Hansen's first spaceflight. You can't really beat a trip to the moon as your first flight in space. So that's the crew. 4 incredible astronauts who are going to be able to test out everything for future missions and be our first return to the moon in over 5 decades. So the big question, when is Artemis 2 happening? Very soon. The first launch window for Artemis 2 opens on February 5th, 2026. Now, it took Artemis 1 a couple of launch attempts before NASA got everything working properly. But the result of that attention to detail and that patience was a very successful flight. And this time, Artemis 2 has actual humans on board. So don't be surprised if there are a couple of scrub launch attempts over the next couple months. Me and my family are hoping to be there for launch, hopefully with some of you guys. And if you are as excited for the Artemis 2 launch as I am, be sure to check out all of the Artemis 2 shirts and merch that I have put out on my Digital Astronaut Etsy shop, like this one, available now. Be sure to like and subscribe, and you can check out my other Artemis videos right
All right. I guess that's a pretty good rundown. It's not really like the science rundown, but that's a pretty good rundown deal. All right. That was overview. Is there a technical? There's probably a technical film as well. All right. Okay, so do technical specs. That would probably be interesting. Do technical specs. Like, I think Super Bowl, February 8th.
Oh, wow.
It could be after that. I think it's Super Bowl, February.
Well, thank goodness we have tickets, but I don't have to go.
Are you afraid of going to space?
Yeah, I'm afraid to fly anymore.
You're afraid of going to space? I think it'd be fun to go to space.
Yeah. That is going where people don't belong. There's no oxygen.
Oh. You wouldn't like to go to space? People don't belong there.
Right.
Well, God created the universe.
God belongs there, but
God belongs in space, but not us.
people think once again.
Yeah.
People think they. And also too. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying men, God created men, and they're smart, and people who are trained and everything maybe could go. But not everybody. Not everybody is qualified to go.
Yeah.
And also,
That God didn't want us to go explore the worlds of the universe?
no, I did not say that.
Yeah.
I did not say that.
Alright.
I'm saying astronauts that are trained to go to space. Amateurs should not.
What about William Shatner? You should go to space.
He did. Well,
Yeah, yeah.
no, he did not.
Let's go to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Alright.
I don't know how far it will go.
Yeah.
Like aliens.
Yeah, like aliens.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh shit.
What's the Sigourney Weaver?
Can I have one can of Diet Coke?
No, 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 no. No. Yeah, yeah.
Alright, okay. No can.
Please, just drink.
No can. Okay. No can. That's it. What, Sigourney Weaver?
I'm sorry.
Sigourney Weaver. Okay. I won't never do that again. Alright. Alright.
I'm never going to forget.
Yeah.
Was it aliens? Yeah, it was aliens.
Get your ass to Mars.
No.
Yeah, that was totally.
No. But I'm sorry. Was that IQ? What'd she say? Have IQs?
Have IQs dropped sharply?
While I was away?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Alright. You're right.
You got the little ashtray?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got it. Don't worry. Alright, love you. I'll see you soon.
No, I'm sorry. She said, have IQ
IQs dropped sharply?
significantly?
Significantly?
While I was away.
While I was away? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Smart ass bitch.
Yeah, smart ass bitch. Love that. Bitch. Does anybody want to know about the specifics of the Artemis mission? Technical or scientific details? I don't think anybody has to be an electrical engineer or a master's in physics or math to understand basic dynamics. I mean, at least I don't think so. But do I think that people have to be electrical engineers to understand space science? I mean, I guess to a certain degree, but I don't think they have to, to understand the fundamentals. I don't think that's. I don't think you have to be a doctor of physics to understand space flight fundamentals of space time. So obviously that helps, but hold up. Oh. Looking for a technical journey. Okay. I think this might be good. I'm not sure this is an official source, but
In the early hours of 2026, humanity is poised on the edge of a new chapter in space exploration. For the first time in more than half a century, humans are about to travel beyond low Earth orbit to circle the moon and return. This is Artemis II, NASA's first crewed lunar mission since Apollo, and a cornerstone of a bold vision that extends far beyond a single flight. In this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about Artemis II, from the rocket that will launch it to the spacecraft the crew will live inside, from who the astronauts are to the exact path they'll take around the moon. We'll look at how long the mission lasts, what systems and scientific tests will be carried out in deep space, why this flight matters so much for future moon landings, and the latest updates on where the mission stands right now. Because Artemis II isn't just another mission. It's the bridge between testing hardware in space and putting humans back on the moon. And what happens on this single flight will shape the next era of lunar exploration and everything that comes after. Welcome to territory. This is your space.
drinking the beer. All right.
The Artemis program is NASA's ambitious lunar exploration initiative, a multi-mission campaign to send humans back to the moon, establish a sustainable presence there, and learn how to live and work on another world. Artemis II is the second major mission of this program and the first to carry astronauts. The first, Artemis I, was an uncrewed test flight that proved NASA's Space Launch System rocket and the Orion spacecraft could complete a lunar trajectory and safely return to Earth. The next step, and one of the most important, is to put people inside that spacecraft. At its core, Artemis II is a systems verification mission with astronauts on board. Rather than landing on the moon, the mission will take the Orion spacecraft on a 10-day journey around the moon and back. During this voyage, nearly every major spacecraft system, life support, communications, navigation, propulsion, and crew interfaces will be tested in the real conditions of deep space. Beyond hardware, Artemis II is also about people. How the human body responds to the stresses of deep space, microgravity for extended periods, radiation beyond Earth's protective magnetosphere, and the psychological challenges of isolation will be measured and studied.
Yeah. Okay.
This historic journey will be crewed by 4 astronauts: Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen. Wiseman brings leadership from years in spaceflight operations. Glover and Koch each have extensive experience aboard the International Space Station, and Koch herself will become one of the first women to travel beyond low Earth orbit. Hansen's presence marks the first time a Canadian astronaut will travel to the moon's vicinity. Their Orion spacecraft has even been given a name, Integrity, reflecting the crew's spirit. Artemis II will ride into space atop NASA's Space Launch System, or SLS, the most powerful rocket the agency has ever built. At more than 320 feet tall, it dwarfs most launch vehicles and is designed to send Orion and its crew far beyond Earth's gravitational pull. The Orion spacecraft is equally remarkable. Built by Lockheed Martin, Orion is a deep space crew capsule capable of protecting astronauts during both the intense launch and the fiery re-entry through Earth's atmosphere. It includes advanced life support systems, solar arrays that power the mission, and shielding designed to protect the crew from space radiation. Orion consists of 2 primary sections: Crew Module, where the astronauts live and work, and European Service Module, which provides propulsion, energy, and thermal control. Together with the launch abort system designed to jettison the crew module to safety in a launch emergency, this stack is NASA's next-generation deep space vehicle. Once launched, Orion will follow a carefully plotted trajectory that takes it around the lunar far side and back home. After liftoff from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the SLS will fire its engines to push Orion into orbit. Then a critical engine burn, the translunar injection, will send the spacecraft on its way to lunar distance. After traveling roughly 240,000 miles from Earth, Orion will swing around the moon, taking advantage of lunar gravity to slingshot back toward Earth. During this loop, the mission team will monitor life support, radiation exposure, communication systems, and the spacecraft's navigation capabilities. The crew will conduct manual and automated maneuvers to evaluate Orion's handling and responsiveness in ways that cannot be duplicated on Earth. At the end of this 10-day journey, Orion will re-enter Earth's atmosphere at tremendous speed, heat shielding ablaze as it plunges through atmospheric layers and finally splashes down in the Pacific Ocean, where recovery teams will retrieve the crew. Although Artemis 2 is primarily a systems test flight, it will carry a suite of experiments and sensors to gather important data on the deep space environment and human physiology. These findings will help calibrate future spacecraft critical for Artemis 3 and beyond, improve astronaut safety protocols, and support long-duration missions to the lunar surface and Mars. As of January 2026, NASA has completed several major milestones in Artemis 2 preparations. The integrated SLS rocket and Orion spacecraft have been rolled out to Launch Pad 39B at Kennedy Space Center, marking one of the final steps before launch operations begin. The mission is currently slated to launch in early February 2026, with the first available launch window opening around February 6 to 7. NASA will perform a wet dress rehearsal in early February, a full countdown and fuel loading exercise to ensure all systems are ready for flight. Weather, technical reviews, and system checks will all play into the exact launch date, but the agency is approaching this historic moment with both excitement and caution. NASA officials emphasize that this is not a rush to launch at any cost, but a carefully managed progression towards success and crew safety. Artemis 2 has not been without its challenges. Earlier tests revealed issues with heat shielding and life support systems during Artemis 1 re-entry evaluations. Engineers addressed these with redesigns and new thermal protection strategies that have since been implemented on Orion for Artemis 2. Complex systems like radiation shielding, environmental controls, and deep space communications have undergone months of testing and verification. The crew themselves have trained for scenarios ranging from manual spacecraft control to emergency procedures, spending long hours simulating real flight conditions at NASA facilities. Artemis 2 is a mission of preparation, but it points directly to Artemis 3, the one that will land humans on the moon. In short, Artemis 2 has to succeed in order to make Artemis 3 possible. Beyond Artemis 3, NASA and international partners envision a long-term lunar presence, scientific outposts, commercial partnerships, and a staging ground for Mars. So Artemis 2 is not just a voyage around the moon. It's the first pacing lap in a marathon that may one day take humanity to another planet. And when Orion returns to Earth's oceans in early 2026, it will carry with it not just 4 astronauts, but the confidence that we are ready to take the next giant leap. What part of this mission excites you the most? The spacecraft, the crew, or what it unlocks for the future? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, a like really helps the channel reach more curious minds. And if you want to follow the Artemis missions as they unfold,
That's pretty good. All right, that was a pretty excellent technical rundown. So that's exactly what I was looking for. Honestly, I just wanted a spec breakdown of the mission, and it seemed that's what it was. So I wanted an articulate rundown of the mission. Well, I found the video that did that. Good. For the snow moon, I have something excellent planned. Fido on the block, dog. Snow. Look your boom boom down. 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 In the station. Through the door. Reformer. Lick your boom boom down. Lick your boom boom down. Informer, play on, lick your boom boom down. Lick your boom boom down. All hail the snow moon. Lick your boom boom down. Boom boom down. Come with a nice young lady, intelligent, yes she juggling Ari. Never we me go, me never left for a tally. Listen to the snow, me a the rum dance man. Rum it in a battle in a nation. You never go to the snow, me a the phone shagger. Me never lay down, something I want you go dance. Listen to the snow, me a the regional dance. Informer, you know the devil tell me I go play on. You keep boom boom down. You keep boom boom down. Informer, you know the devil tell me I go play on. You keep boom boom down. Take the man and say the devil tell me stop somewhere down there. You keep boom boom down. Why boy? Why boy? Informer. Informer. You know, say that me slow me, I go glam. I need keep on going down. Take the man and say that me slow me, stop.
I think taxes are something that makes
At Kroger, Texans save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Kroger, Texas proud since 1955.
Ice, ice, baby.
Yo, VIP. Let's kick it.
Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
Alright, stop. Collaborate and listen. I sit back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tight. Flow like a hawk daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I blow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chunk like a candle. Dance. So rush a speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly. When I play a dope melody, anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it. You better get away. You better hit fools out the kid don't play. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it.
She got hooked when my DJ was awesome. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
Now that the party is jumping, with the bass kicked in and the niggas are pumping. Quick to the point, no faking.
Cooking in things like a pound of bacon.
Burning them, being quick and nimble. I go crazy when I hear a cymbal and a
Hi-hat.
with a souped up
A
tempo.
tempo.
I'm on a roll, trying to go
Solo.
rolling. Hit my 5.0, put my rack top down so my hair can blow. The girl is on standby, waiting just to say hi. No, I just
Roll by.
kept on. Pursuing to the next stop. I was a left and I'm heading to the next block. The block is dead, yo, so I continue to A1A.
Beachfront Avenue.
Girls were hot, wearing less than bikinis. Rockin' lovers, driving Lamborghinis. Jealous, cause I'm out getting mine. Shade with the gauge and maneuver
Gauge
with the
with the
nine. Ready for the chumps on the wall. The chumps acting ill because I'm full of A-ball. Gunshots ranged out like a bell. I grabbed my nine, all I heard was
The shells.
falling on the concrete real fast. Jumped in my car, slammed on the
The
gas.
gas.
Bumper to bumper, the avenue's packed. I'm trying to get away from
Yeah, Jack is a Jack.
Police on the scene, you know
Know what I
mean?
mean?
They got me up, we're running on the dope beat. If there was a problem,
Yo, I solved it. Check out the hook when my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby.
Take heed, cause I'm a lyrical poet. Miami's on the scene, just in case you didn't know it. My town, that created all my bass sound. Another shit kick holes in the ground with my styles like a chemical spill. These were rhymes with conviction and feel. Conducted and formed, this is a hell of a concept. We make it high, and you want us to break this. Shape planes on a fade, slice like a ninja, cut like a razor blade so fast. Other DJs say, damn, my rhyme was a drug, I sell it by the gram. Keep my composure when it's time to get loose. Like a time
Kill
to
the
fight
lights
while I
and
kick
kick
my
the juice.
If there was a problem,
Yo, I solved it. Kick out the hit when DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Vanilla ice, ice, baby. Vanilla ice, ice, baby.
Yo, man, let's get out of here.
Word to your mother. Yeah, that's it.
What were you playing?
I was just joking around. Vanilla ice, ice, baby. Yeah, I was just joking around.